Hello and welcome back. Thank you as always for joining me. And as always, thank you for your dedication, your commitment to spiritual practice. You might wonder why I often say that. Well, it's the highest and best form of offering you could ever give anyone, anywhere, at any time. On behalf of every single living thing, I thank you for that. It is more important than anything else that you could be doing. And you might just say, well, I happened to run across this on YouTube. It's just a video, dude. Yeah, sure. It is. It's just a video. In this video is a message from your inner teacher. And should you choose to stick around for the entire thing, which I invite you to do, by all means, there will be more than one, and you're meant to hear it. That's why you found this channel. Really, it found you. So welcome. Welcome to a message from the Holy Spirit. What exactly is that going to be that lands for you? I have no idea. You'll know it when you hear it, though. You can count on that. This thing that you see delivering the message is a pixelated image on your screen. It's nothing. Looks like a dude, a form that we're familiar with, pretty much. I mean, that's pretty much it. If you're new or newer to A Course in Miracles, and if you're not, you have access here. We would say here in the world, you have your hands on something incredibly powerful. I know you're drawn to that, or you wouldn't be here. Now, what are you drawn to exactly? Well, that's a very good question. You're drawn to truth. You're drawn to the light of truth. This course will point you to that. Let me be very clear that this course is not superior to other spiritual traditions, though it is the only one that I'm aware of that says there is no world. It's central teaching. We'll say some more about what exactly that means. Just because this course is very direct doesn't make it superior to other traditions. So don't get this pixelated image on your screen wrong. It's only a pixelated image after all. The Course, in fact, is teaching us that there is no separation of any kind. So, amongst spiritual traditions and modalities, how could one be superior to, or inferior to, or different than another? That would imply a separation in the first place. There is no separation. There is no hierarchy. There's no superior to and inferior to. There's no better than or worse than. There's no taller nor shorter, heavier, lighter. All such differences are complete fabrications of the mind. They're made up, they're nothing. They can be set aside by a simple decision on your part right now. So this course isn't superior to anything else. However, if you have arrived at this place feeling like you've tried everything, which is common enough, give this a try. Only you can accept that invitation. It is the invitation of the Holy Spirit, our inner teacher, part of our mind that will point the way, should we choose to follow it. This invitation is constant. It goes out to every single living thing 24/7. And, well, you've been listening. You've not only heard the message, but you've heeded it more than once, or you would not appear to be here watching this. This course talks about A Course in Miracles, what it says, what it means, not someone's wild fabrication or watered down idea, dumbed down and placid little idea of what A Course in Miracles means, trying to fit it into the framework of a solid physical world. What solid physical world? There is no, none. You're not a body. You do know that. Perhaps you can relate to that statement better than the central teaching that there is no world. Well, you're not a body. You know that. There's more to our experience than simply meeting the needs of this little device over here, as you well know, or you would not be on the spiritual path. So, yeah, let's be honest with ourselves. I invite that. Shouldn't we be? I mean, haven't we all messed around and played around enough? So, what does it mean when we say there's no world? You can easily protest, okay, well, there appears to be. I mean, we're on this thing that we call a planet. Seems real solid, concrete, and real to me, dude. What are you even talking about? What do you mean there is no world? Well, this course says what it says. We're presenting A Course in Miracles, remember? Not somebody's watered down version of what they'd like it to be, to fit in with their individual egoistic viewpoint of how the world should be. What world, right? Begin to see the depth and the powerful meaning of this. And if it freaks you out, that's all right. I mean, really, that's perfectly okay. When we say there's no world, it means that we're perfectly at home in God, where we've always been. Remember, we're not a body. This is spirituality, spirit, what we are. The thought of God. Mm. The Son of God, Christ, the Christ, singular, does not refer simply to Jesus. It refers to all of us. It's all inclusive. The thought of God, the extension of God, by which we're known here in the Course. So we're perfectly at home in God. There is a very well known and often quoted passage from the Course that is, in fact, one of its central tenets. Ideas leave not their source. Thoughts remain in the mind of the thinker. We're the thought of God. Where are we? Ideas leave not their source. Capital S, if you please. It's often written with a lowercase s to say that all of our thoughts of condemnation, guilt, hatred, fear, rage, and blame that we try to put off on other people, that we project, remain in our mind. Thoughts remain in the mind of the thinker. So this is a simple and very easy to make link. Ideas leave not their source, capital S, and you're the thought of God. You've always known. Yes, if you're saying, hey, wait a minute, that strikes a chord. Yeah, you have always known. For far too long, we've been running away from our power. In fact, the body that we appear to inhabit symbolizes our wish to run off and hide. You may protest, no, we'll run off and hide from what, dude? What are you talking about? Well, there's no separation of any kind. Yet, here on wobbling, spinning ball of rock, when we think we're an individual human being, we want to believe it. So that's what we see. It's not true. First of all, we're not a body, which you know. And if that's true of you, it has to be true for every other living thing too. You're not the only individual spirit. There's no individuality, remember? There is only perfect oneness. Now, it may seem that this is weird or threatening. Well, it's going to be very threatening to the ego. Expect resistance. The ego is this false sense of self, this belief in an individual identity that we cling to stubbornly. And it's this we want to protect at all costs. Yet it continues to hurt us every time we do. Why? We lash out and blame. And we wonder why we don't have the peace of God. We continue to see ourselves as separate from our brother, i.e., every other living thing. And we wonder why we're not perfectly happy, blissful, and joyous all the time. Now, I don't care if you have a bunch of money in this lifetime. Great, no problem. I don't care if you're in a great, loving relationship. I am. I'm very happily married. Right? No problem. Okay, great. Doesn't matter if you have fancy stuff, fancy clothes, a nice car. Doesn't matter if you live in what this world deems to be relative safety, peace, and comfort. It's still not the peace of God. And we won't experience that until we've fully clarified our perception. Completely, 100%. We don't see things as they are. Proof positive. Yeah, we see ourselves as a physical body, separate from other physical bodies. So until we learn to see things as they are, we will continue to vacillate and fluctuate, alternate between great bliss and a very serious tirade, anger, rage, guilt, blame, and fear, up, down, up, down. One moment we feel great, the next minute, not so great at all. And we all experience this. That's why we're on the spiritual path, because we know there's more to it than that. And at some point, we get sick of all of the drama, and we wish to be drama free. Is that your wish today? I hope so. So, what do we do about it? Forgive. The practical centerpiece of A Course in Miracles is what's known as true forgiveness. Here's an idea that is worth taking some time on and repeating. As you see your brother, you see yourself. Now, this should make sense on some level, as we're taught, after all, to, well, do unto others as we'd have them do unto us, to share with people. We're all taught as kids, whether we were raised in a spiritual or religious household or not, doesn't make any difference. We're all taught to share with other kids, to be nice to each other. And I mean, really, our practical experiences in life bear this out. What happens when you walk down the street with a scowl, cursing and swearing at people? Well, at best, they're going to want to avoid you and get away from you. And at worst, someone might violently curse back and step up to you and start something. Yeah. Now, on the other hand, what if you walked down the street with a peaceful, loving smile on your face and you actually said hello, good morning to somebody? Yeah, I mean, you might not get anything in response because somebody might be in a real messed up place in their mind, thinking all kinds of thoughts. But what's most likely to get a positive response? Exactly. Here's why. As we see our brother, we see ourselves. You're walking down the street smiling, saying hello to somebody, shines the light of truth on that person. They see themselves, whether they're consciously aware of it or not. This is 100% reciprocal. I mean, if you're walking down the street, somebody comes up to you in a very happy state, smiles, and says, "Good morning, how do you feel?" I mean, you'll feel differently than if they come up with a scowl and curse you out, right? As we see our brother, we see ourselves. When we offer our brother forgiveness, we get our own salvation in return. When we offer our brother condemnation, we get death in return. Chapter 25, section 5, if you're following along in the text. Again, pixelated image isn't making this up. After all, a pixelated image is not capable of writing something so completely internally consistent and cohesive as this course. It's just a pixelated image after all. When something lands, it's the Holy Spirit. As we see our brother, we really, truly do see ourselves. When we condemn and lash out in blame, we're blaming ourselves. And when we extend forgiveness, love, happy thoughts, when we choose to see our brother as he really is, we see ourselves. As you see your brother, you see yourself. As you see your brother, you see yourself. There's no separation of any kind. This is literal. Here in the world of form, there appear to be 8 billion of us. Well, here's the deal. This course isn't talking about the world of form at all. You're not a body, remember? There's no world. This course is not talking about the world of form. In giving this course, in dictating this course, Jesus is not addressing a physical body. That's not who you are. He is rather addressing the mind that appears to be split, that feels great one minute, poorly the next, that finds it easy to forgive one minute, impossible the next. Up, down, up, down. Tired yet? Yeah, Jesus is addressing the mind. That means this course has nothing to do with the physical world of bodies. Looks right past it. You're not a body, remember? So it's not about a new earth. What earth? It's not about manifesting our physical desires here on wobbling spinning ball of rock, getting more cash. I mean, nothing against that. Don't get me wrong, but that's not what this is about. So if you've come looking for a primer on manifestation of our desires in the physical world, wobbling, spinning ball of rock, this is not that at all. A Course does not mention it. Course in Miracles just doesn't mention that. It's not about that. It's not about making a nicer dream for yourself and your family. It's not about accumulating anything here in the dream or rearranging one facet of the dream for a brighter, shiner, hotter, sexier version of the dream. It's not about the dream and rearranging it. It's about waking up from it and setting it aside for all time. That's what it's about. So when people begin to get that, it becomes perfectly obvious why every single living being is not doing the course at this moment in linear time because we want to cling to this sense of individuality. In other words, we want to keep our individual identity. We've become so accustomed to it, habituated to it, programmed to it, yeah, that it dies hard. We find it really difficult to let go. That's where all of our resistance comes from. And the ego that we continue to talk about, this false sense of an individual I, a separate self, is simply a mistake. It's a mistake that can be easily corrected. How do we correct it? We accept what the Course refers to as atonement for ourselves. We accept the correction of our inner teacher who will correct our perception. Ask for help in this. You will be given this help immediately, instantly. And if it feels like nothing changes, it's because we haven't accepted it yet. A gift is received the instant it's bestowed. Always. Giving and receiving are simultaneous, they're one, they're instantaneous. Same time. However, time may appear to pass between the receiving of a gift, the instant it's given, and the acceptance of said gift. So we accept our inner teacher's gentle and loving correction, by the way. Accept it for ourselves. And if you find that you're not sure how exactly to proceed, we simply ask. Ask your inner teacher. He'll show you. There are many different ways to go forth and extend love. We do need to make a choice to see our brother as he really is. To see our brother's sinlessness, to see him as the Son of God, the extension of God himself, which most certainly involves looking past all of the physical stuff that's going on, all of the statements or misstatements, all of the behavior, all of the abuses, all of that dramatic stuff. We look right past. This is where people stick themselves and get really, really, well, gummed up and stuck. So let's break through what seems to be a very solid barrier for a lot of people. In forgiving, we're not condoning someone's behavior. Not at all. We're not saying, okay, this egregious behavior by so and so is absolutely okay. You're not saying you agree with it. You're not saying you support it. What you're doing, in fact, has nothing to do with this person's behavior at all. You're seeing them as they really are. And as you see the other person, so you see yourself. That is inevitable. Now, what do you do here in the world form? Well, you may have to protect yourself. It's quite common for people to forgive, which is all done in the mind, and distance themselves from someone. I had to do this. What to date has been the largest forgiveness lesson of this lifetime for me has been in the forgiveness of my own mother, whom, well, long story short, a long story that I've told at many points here on this series of videos, in various videos, actually. Anyway, long story short, decades of abuse at the hands of a miserable alcoholic, psychological, emotional, that kind of, yeah, pervasive stuff. Perhaps you can relate to that. Well, in taking up this course, which found me in 2013, to be exact, I resisted this idea 100% at first. I knew that I would have to forgive my own mother, but I didn't want to. I mean, can you relate to that? Yeah. I was reluctant to do it, but I knew I had to start, so I did. I started. Here's the deal. You don't have to have a knockdown, drag out fight with somebody. That's not the point. You don't have to write them a long letter. You don't have to have a tear-jerking conversation. And if there's egregious behavior going on, which there was, you don't have to be there for it. You can distance yourself. We call it putting up a barrier here in the world. Okay, whatever language works for you. You don't have to subject yourself to that. You can, in fact, say, I'm not going to deal with this at all. You will not speak to me this way. And until things change, we'll have no contact at all. And we didn't. In fact, the last 2 years of her life, we didn't speak. And she passed away in 2016. But here's what had happened. I had already forgiven her because I went to town, so to speak, in my own mind. Forgive, 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 forgive. No letters, no phone calls, no text, no sit down, tear jerking conversation where everything is aired. She didn't even know I was doing it. She didn't have to. And guess what? No one has to. It's done in the mind. So that is how you forgive what can appear to be really egregious behavior on somebody's part, or a group of people's part for that matter. Do we have to do this in order to wake up? Yeah. Now, here's the deal. If you don't feel ready to do that today, that's not a problem. That's kind of normal, isn't it? It is. Yeah, not a problem. Start with what comes up for you. You will be given multiple opportunities today to forgive. How do I know? Anything that's not wholly joyous is an opportunity to forgive. Anything at all, anything that rankles you, anything that angers you or annoys you or is frustrating, pick up your social media feed. You'll have a lot of opportunities. If you choose to not look at your social media feed today, that's fine too. You'll still think of things to forgive. Yeah, they'll be presented to you. And it's all about our present moment awareness of being aware that these are, in fact, opportunities to forgive. And in fact, they're gifts to us on a silver platter because as we do it, we begin to lighten our mind. Here's another way of looking at that. You no longer see things the way you did. And that's a beautiful thing. What you give your brother, you give yourself. Forgiveness or condemnation, which would you have? Okay, give that. All right. Well, so this and every conversation may seem like a lot of words for very simple ideas. And yeah, they are. But here's the thing is we can watch a video such as this. We can read a commentary. We can read the course book itself. We can go to a workshop. We can do all kinds of things that would constitute spiritual practice. And these ideas can seem to really make sense during that practice. And then we got to take it off the cushion, so to speak, take it off the mat and go into our daily lives, where all of a sudden it can be really easy to lose track of what we've been practicing, isn't it? I mean, we all do this. We find ourselves getting swept away in the torrent of life. And it is here that we bring our awareness back to what we're working on, forgiveness. If you're going through the workbook, to the idea for the day, to prayer, to even just your connection with Jesus, your connection with the Holy Spirit, whatever it looks like for you, we bring our awareness back to that and forgive because we have multiple opportunities every day. It's in doing the course that we learn the best. So it's very practical. It's a self-study curriculum, not a religion, after all, which is really good because this is the pixelated image on your screen. It's not in charge of you, for which it's very happy. Yay. Self-study. Here's the deal. You have help. You have, first and foremost, the help of the Holy Spirit, of Jesus, your guide or guides, call it whatever you want to call it, whatever. Names are just names. The Holy Spirit, our inner teacher, part of your mind. Yes, call on that part of your mind. You're invited to do that. And here on Wobbling Spinning Ball of Rock, you have people that may very well be able to help you. This appears to be one of them. So if you have comments or questions, there have been some very excellent questions posed right here in the comment thread on YouTube, and I'd be happy to address those. So if you have them, please feel welcome to ask. If you have not yet subscribed, please do that. That's the prompt. Click subscribe, join us. Yeah, it's very direct. You deserve nothing less. So if you really want the peace of God and nothing else, in other words, if you really want to awaken, stick around because several videos appear each week and I will see you on the next one. All right. Thank you.